you are good at negotiations, but if you want to be great at communication and stuff like that, never split the difference. The second best book I read is Start with Why. So everyone does business. There are 100 different marketing agencies around me. There are 1,000 different roofing companies around you. Why me and not anyone else? Or just why me, right? So that's how I came up with an idea. I read the book, I understood the concept, and I'm like, you know what? I have a why. That's why I can always sell. I never knew that I have a why, but I always had a why I started this business.
Thank you so much for tuning into Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. I'm your host, Christian D. Evans. And guys, we have someone very special on today. He's young, he's vibrant, and he built a business at 10 years old, but he's not 10. Guys, he is incredible, guys. And the reason why I want to have him on is because we're going to go dive into not just his story about how he came over to the United States, but also his incredible skills in the marketing world. Now, he is the experienced owner with a demonstrated history of working in the marketing, advertising industry, and branding, skilled in public affairs, negotiation, business planning, and Microsoft, and so many other things. My friend, he is the innovator, leader, startup founder, growthception, Parth Patel. How you doing, Parth?
Thank you so much, Christian. That's a great introduction, by the way. Thank you so much for having me today.
Hey, I'm excited because that was your intro about yourself. So I'm excited to have you on, man. You're very young, vibrant, but also the biggest thing is you're very accomplished as well. And so before we dive into kind of like the depths of, your digital marketing and growthception and things like that, and what you're doing innovative in the industry, kind of tell me, how did you come over to the United States? I know it was kind of a journey. It was just crazy. And obviously being able to build a business at 10 years old, that is interesting.
Yes, sir. So, I came here in 2015 fall to study mechanical engineering, basically in the second largest university in the America, University of Central Florida. When I came here, the fun fact is I did not knew how to speak English. So I was 18 years old, didn't know how to speak English, applied for visa, came to the US in 2015, and 7 years by now, I'm good to go. So I came here, started learning about mechanical engineering. Within 3 days, we figured out that, you know what, that's not my field. I don't think so I can be a great mechanical engineer. And I always enjoy the process of selling. When I call about selling, that means I always enjoy the process of providing value or showing the value to the consumers of whatever product or service I'm selling. Because someone will pay me, maybe money or cash or whatever it is, right, in return when I show them the value that I'm providing. So that's the process I enjoyed the most, right? So when I came to the US, I figured that mechanical is not my thing. So like how all the Indians or, immigrant parents are like, oh, either you become an engineer or a doctor. That's how my parents were. They're like, oh, why don't you become a mechanical engineer? Because it's a great field. You'll make a lot of money, XYZ. And then one day I had a phone call after coming here, actually, within a week, that I called my dad and I'm like, Dad, I don't think I want to do it. Why don't I study business? And he's like, my dad is, by the way, he's not well educated. He completed his 6th grade, so his 7th grade fail back in India. And he's like, you know what? Give me one day. He asked one of his really good friend. He's like, Parth wants to do business instead of mechanical. What do you think? Because honestly, he didn't went to school, so he doesn't know what does it look like. He called me back and he's like, Parth, so my friend told me if you do mechanical, you will make $100,000 a year. And if you do business, you will make around 40,000-50,000 a year. So I'm like, I understood. But the thing that I realized on early stages, when I do sales, I can spend hours. When I do business, I can spend hours without interruption, without getting mad. And when I do something that I don't like, even within a couple hours, I'll get upset. So I'm like, I want to have a life. So that's the conversation went that way with my parents. I'm like, I think it will be better off if I make 40 and I'm happy instead of making 100. And when I come back home, if wifey cooks something, then I get upset. I'm like, oh, there is no salt in the food or XYZ, whatever it is, right? So that's what I didn't want to do. And my parents supported me. So that's how I ended up going to UCF, studying business and starting the career in business. Yep. So that's how I came here.
Well, that's incredible. And first of all, what was that what was that journey like, knowing no English to all of a sudden obviously being very fluent in English, and then as well as, going to a university in a whole different country, and obviously doing incredible results in something that you're passionate about, which is business?
So the fun fact, the thing is that when I was in India, I was 17, and I started working with a really good traveling company as their sales manager for the whole state. So I was doing marketing, management, negotiations, outreaching, cold calling, visiting everything to schools and colleges back in Gujarat, the state of Gujarat in India. And what I was doing is pretty simple. I was going to the university telling them that, hey, why don't I take your students to NASA for educational tour program? And that time I didn't even knew English, right? But from day one, I was really open-minded. I'm a quick learner. If you show me something one time, I can assure you that 20 minutes I'll remember for life. So that's how my mind works. I'm eager to learn. So if you tell me something and I don't know, the first thing I'll do is I might just Google it. So that's how I work. When I came here, English was a really bad barrier because I could understand a little bit. It was like how you learn Spanish or any other international language in America, but you can't learn everything else. So I started working with a close family member in one of his business. Not working means volunteering because I couldn't work that time. So I started volunteering, going to his business and talking to customers. He used to own a gas station. We talked. I used to talk to customers, from looking into the business to managing the whole business. So I was helping him out to manage the whole business by myself and stuff like that. So that's how I learned English, and that's how I actually picked up Spanish as well. I can speak Spanish, but I never took education on Spanish, so I learned from people. So that's how I learn English, like how to talk in English and stuff like that. So still, my grammar is messed up, and sometimes my words are okay too. Vocabulary is not the strongest point, but it works out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so let me ask you, because now kind of pivoting into building a business, obviously Growception is what you have now, which is a digital marketing agency. But
Yes.
at 10 years old, where did that come from? Were you always entrepreneurial spirit? Because obviously your parents were like, I'm not so sure, Parth. And what did that look like? And how was that facilitated into learning the experiences that you had at 10 years old?
Understood. So the fun fact is that I always get eager to sell something. If you show me something and I'm like, okay, how can I get it at a cheaper price? How can I provide you better value and stuff like that? And as far as I remember, and my mom remembers, I was 10 when I started selling Indian spices back in India. So we used to get it from farmers. My parents used to help me out to get it from farmers in 50-kilo bag, right? We used to go home, pack it in 500 grams, so 1 pound and 2 pound bags. And then I used to pack it in my backpack and going to neighbors and other community members and like, hey, would you like to buy some chili, chili powder and turmeric powder? And people started buying it. I started going to local stores and trying to negotiate with them. I'm like, hey, how much do you sell for? And since I was a kid, they weren't offended, right? They're like, oh, I sell it for 150 per kilo. And I'm like, what if I can give you the best quality red chili powder for 130? They'll be like, no, 125. And then we negotiate and we close somewhere in the middle. So that's what it used to happen. And that's how I started selling. Then I used to sell other spices and stuff like that. Also traditional food. I used to sell, there is a food called matcha and chodafadi. It's a seasonal food, right? People only eat in festival time. It's like snacks. So I used to sell that in a bulk. So I would say when I was 14, 15, I used to sell like 300 kilo in 1 month while I was a full-time student. I used to go with my dad in real estate deals, listening him, looking, like trying while he's negotiating, just listening and consuming that knowledge and stuff. So that's how it started. We also used to sell garments and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I did.
So when you were younger, because an engineering mind is always optimized, right? And you definitely in today's world, top CEOs, majority of them, almost like 60% of them are, previous engineers of some sort. So with that being said, you have kind of, with your sales at a young age, right? What was your pitch? I mean, was it just more of just come naturally to you, or did you study that sales techniques? Did you study the processes?
It's just natural. What I'll do is I'll ask you a really stupid question, which you can answer within no time. And then we'll just start a conversation from there. And then I'll tell you that you realize that you need something like this, and I'll say, oh, you know what? I just happen to have that product. Would you like to get one? And that's how I used to sell. So just looking into like what people need, then trying to show them, hey, you need this. Because consumer are they are really confused, right? When you see online and see top marketing agents near me or whatever you're looking for, just give me an example, like let's say a tea or a coffee, right? You might want to drink a coffee, or you might want to drink a soda. Let's say soda, it's a stupidly easy example. You go to a gas station, you open a door, now you know that you always drink Coke, but still there is a can, there is a bottle, there is a bigger bottle, 2 liter, right? All these other options. You still get confused of what you need. So my job was to make the process easy and just tell you, hey, you need 500 milligram of caffeine today, right? By providing or by creating a story before even we go there. So that's what I used to do. If I see a problem, I'll solve it for you. That's pretty much it. And I did started a journey with a couple of my friends selling Indian, like the jeans, garments for men's and stuff, trying to do an affiliate kind of thing. Like, hey, I'll give you 5 pieces at no cost. If you sell it, great. If not, I'll take it back at no cost. The good thing is if you sell 5, you make, I think that time I gave them 120 rupees per piece. So I used to give them at 250. They can sell it for 370. And I'm like, here is the thing. If you sell all 5 within a week, I'll give you at 230, not 250. So for that extra 20 rupees, they used to go out there and try to sell all of them, whatever they have in stock. So yeah, that's how we did it. It just came naturally.
That's incredible, because see, there are some individuals, right, that are born kind of that natural spirit of sales, right? I think I had that kind of personality a little bit as well, and I know you do. It's just like you said. And then there's also the ability to, optimize your own capability to become the best, right? You're good and then become the best in the expert level. So now that you became really good, right, at a very young age, and you knew what to do, how to do it, you don't know why it worked, but it just worked, and you were just like really good at it. What have been certain things that have leveled up your sales ability, definitely in the marketing industry now?
Absolutely. So now I have a legal business. I'm scaling my agency. I have 7 different things. I'm disrupting roofing industry. I don't know if we ever had a talk about this or not, but I have a company called claimtheroof.com as well. We are disrupting it. So now it's on a bigger scale, right? I used to make 100 rupees per deal. Now it's scaling up. I'm providing more value for more return on time. So I started learning this recently. I would say 2 years ago. I started reading books. Now I hate reading. If you tell me to read something, I never read a book in my college. That's how I am. I don't have a great GPA, by the way. So that's the thing. I'm not a great student, but I'm a great learner, listener. So if you teach me something, I'll understand. It doesn't mean that I'll, just remember everything and come to you for a test paper and get 10 out of 10. It's never my concern. My parents never forced me to do it. So that's the best thing. GPA was not concerned to me. My concern was understanding what you're teaching me, what's valuable, right? So I started reading books, and one of the best book I ever read is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I don't know if you ever had a chance to read it. No, you have to do it. If you are in sales and if you want to be great at negotiations, right? I'm sure you might be good, or you are good at negotiations, but if you want to be great at communication and stuff like that, never split the difference. The second best book I read is Start with Why. So everyone does business. There are 100 different marketing agencies around me. There are 1,000 different roofing companies around you. Why me and not anyone else? Or just why me, right? So that's how I came up with an idea. I read the book, I understood the concept, and I'm like, you know what? I have a why. That's why I can always sell. I never knew that I have a why, but I always had a why I started this business. Just to give you a small explanation of how this why journey started is, while I was helping my cousin in the gas station industry for more than a year, I figured out an issue. The issue was that he was checking cameras multiple times a day. He was wasting time. He used to own more than 1 stores. They easily make around $100,000 a year per store while sitting home, by the way. And if he spends around 2-3 hours a day just watching camera, imagine how much his time is worth and how much time he's wasting that he can invest somewhere else. So I figured that thing out, and I'm like, I call people. in the gas station industry here, whom I knew or I just drove by, to Wawa, Racetrack, Marathon, Chevron, Shell, you name it. I've been there, and just started to talk to them. Hey, I'm a UCF student and I'm working on a project right now for college. Would you mind spending 10 minutes with me? And they're like, yeah. Why do you have cameras? They'll be like, oh, for security, for XYZ. Then I'm like, no, but like what else you expect and whatnot. And then I figured out there is a big need of having a surveillance company who can watch the cameras so these owners can sit home and relax. So in 2018, I went back to India. They start this company, $20 a day for a gas station owner. We're going to watch their camera for all day long. So basically outsourcing. I do see a lot of unemployment back in India. So I'm like, what if I can do that? I see a bigger problem. I try to solve it. It did not happen somehow because same time I met my wife and we had an arranged marriage and it's working out great. So that's what happened in 2018. Then I went to liquor business. I built a company called buzzrush.com. It's online, but we're not doing business right now with it. But it's a liquor delivery platform that I built on early stage. Went to roofing industry, figured out one problem when I knocked on the door and say, hey, my name is Parth with ABC Roofing. I just inspected your neighbor's roof. Can I inspect your too? There is a big communication gap. Why? As an American and as a homeowner, that might be your biggest investment. How can you trust me while I'm walking on the street, knocking the doors and trying to help you to get a new roof? How can I build the trust? So I found that problem and I solved it by building claimtheroof.com. So now we are in process of offering $25,000 guarantee. So let's say, Christian, you own a house, a roofer knocks on your door, and if you go directly with the roofer, you don't know what kind of service you're going to provide, whatnot. If you come to us, we'll show you the roofer, we'll be the middleman like Hilton, and we're going to show you what's going to happen, right? If my roofer, the roofer is affiliate with me, right? Our certified roofer does something stupid. He doesn't only have $1 million in policy, but we guarantee our money up to $25,000 for your project. Would you like to get a roof now? Instead of going directly, would you go with us? And by the way, we don't charge you a penny as a homeowner. You don't pay me a penny. So that's how I try to scale. In a hospitality industry, I used to be a sales and marketing manager for Days Inn. Figured out reputation management is a huge problem. So we built a company called hotelreviews.app, and it has been used by Days Inn, Red Roof, La Quinta, Motel 6, Quality Inn, Best Western Plus, and some more. Not all of them, but a couple of them. And that's how my mind works. And I'm like, I always had a why. Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to solve this bigger problem? So a problem which I can scale, like a solution that I can scale really quick, and a big enough problem is my sweet spot. Like that's what I look for, and that's what I try to solve. So that's how the process went all the way.
I love it because it's like, even though it's a very simple thing, right? It becomes an exponential evolutionary kind of thing, right? Exponential, right? Because see, it's, one of the best individual business people I could ever remember is Art Williams, and he used to find the need, fill the need, find the need and fill the need. And it's a basic, simple thing, but also one of the things is it's very strategic as well, right? You got to identify a market. First of all, do they have a pain? Secondly, do they have money to solve that pain? And three, okay, what is your offer? And it sounded like you created an incredible, sexy offer. It wasn't just saying, oh, I do what Billy Bob does. No, I do what Billy Bob does, plus this, plus this, plus this, right? And you're having that relational aspect that is different than what Billy Bob does, right? In every industry that you deployed. So with that being said, because let's be honest, that's very unorthodox. That's very against the crowd. Everybody likes to automate, process, blah, blah, blah. There's no relational, there's no doing something different that makes you stand out. And it's very hard to find that. So where did that come from? How did you learn that aspect of doing business? Because even though you're saying it like, oh, it's just common knowledge, sadly, it's not.
Definitely. So I wouldn't say we don't build systems or we don't try to automate a lot of stuff. We do. The one thing that we do is when you come to my door, or when our people knock on your door, our why is so solid that emotionally you are attached to our business. You're a family. You are not a client who is paying me $100 a month. You are a family member, right? So that's how we build a system, and we build to scale. Simple. We build a system to scale the business, but we do that human touch as well. So just to give you an example of why Claim the Roof, right? I'll tell you a short, like 15, 20 seconds speech. So we believe at Claim the Roof, we believe that all the homeowners should have an access to local and certified roofer with peace of mind that they're going to do the best job. We happen to find that roofer for homeowners and also guarantee dollar worth of our own money on their work. Would you like to get a roofer from us? Would you like to get a free code? Would you like to get a free inspection? Simple. So if you see a lot of roofers, they're not going to say that we believe X, Y, and Z. So what we believe is, you, as a homeowner, as a customer, you are my hero. What I'm trying to do is, in a story, how we have a hero, a villain, and a god, or someone in the middle who comes and fix all this stuff, right? The actor is doing X, Y, and Z. Now he's gonna have a breakup. Someone, a little angel will come in. They'll show them like, hey, breakup is not a story. It's not an end. Why don't you go to Paris? Why don't you travel there? And then he's gonna find someone else and X, Y, Z. So it's a story, right? So what we do is we always put our customer as a hero, and we try to be the angel who finds the solution and show them the reason and show them why they should work with us. So that why is so solid. Because of that why, we do have customers. Because of that why, once you come and do business with us, you're always going to stick with us. Simple.
Huge. And even though it's so simple, it is so revolutionary, right? Because you just don't see a lot of people doing it. So now let's kind of pivot into the growthception, okay? Because you're able to, become very, very very massive in a lot of industries. And so now taking a lot of those skills that you've acquired and to deploy it 100% into growthception, what is your trajectory with growthception, and kind of what does that look like? And what do you see in the marketing world right now that is the problem that a lot of people are facing?
So I would say there are a lot of marketing gurus. I don't try to be one of them. That's my first thing. I don't sell courses. I don't sell anything stupid. Our process is really simple with growthception. So I started growthception with one idea: try to find solution for small and medium-sized enterprises. How can they market their product? How can they have a good visibility on the website, right? A good website, an online presence. How can we help them out to build more reputation, stuff like that? That's how I started. My first client was a smoothie place. And this person just reached out to me and he's like, Parth, do you know anyone who builds website? And I'm like, yes, I do. He's like, who is the person? I'm like, me. He's like, no, you're not a computer science background. I'm like, yeah, I'm absolutely not. But what if I can build one? He's like, nah, we need a good one. So my process was really simple. If I do a good work, you will pay me $1,200. If you don't like the website, it's free for you. Do you want to give me a try? And he said, yeah, why not? He doesn't have to pay me a penny up front. I started watching YouTube. In 3 days, I built a website using free tools and some more stuff. It was a crazy 3 days. I built a website. I got a $1,200 check, and that's how growthception started. That's when that's how growthception got birthed, right? And we started from website design. Soon I figured out that's not my thing. I can't design websites for a living because I hate that journey. I hate that process. So I hired the best developer. And we are a family now. So we hired the best developer in the market, and we do work with them now. So they are a full-time employee with growthception, with another company, which is also mine, but it's different name. They are full-time employee, in-house marketers, developers, and copywriters we have in-house, or graphic designers, you can say. So that's how we started with growthception. Right now, the major factor we see is a lot of people say, oh, we can make you $10,000 in a day. It doesn't happen. The way I'm doing business right now is, I'm not saying that I'm making a lot of money. Simple. I'm not saying I'm making a lot of money. What I'm doing is I'm making a lot of brand awareness. So if you can call any of my customer at growthception and ask about me, and they will absolutely say, go and work with them. That's simple.
Which makes sense, because see, one of the things that I know just from being in the industry quite a bit, like you said, there are quote unquote experts, and they're selling your course, they're selling done with you, they're selling all this stuff, right? And I actually remember when I work with someone, and he charged me $3,000, and I was like, man, really? That's it? Some people charge $50,000. I mean, just ridiculous. And he charged me $3,000 for 12 weeks, and I said, cool, wonderful, I can do that. But he gave me this one-on-one consultation, and he was most pivotal in my business structure than I've ever experienced, more than anybody else, because he actually gave me very customized experience and kind of customized ideas to implement in my business according to what my offer was. And I remember when we were spending $50 a day and YouTube ads specifically, to then we just scaled almost $4,000 a day. And it just became revolutionary, right? Just several $1,000,000 of ad spend and that I was in charge of. But my point is it's hard to find the quality people. I
Quality
had to
expert.
find, yeah, and I had to go through a whole bunch of crap, right? So my question is I know you're credible, right? You definitely have that experience. However, though, I know you only work with X amount of clients, and I know you're basically booked and so forth. Some of our listeners are probably going to reach out to you and say, "Hey, we want to work with you." However, though, for those that maybe just won't fit, maybe just don't have that ad spend, whatever it may be, or maybe they're just, maybe you're maxed out with your client fulfillment. How do you identify, definitely in this industry, the people that actually talk a good game and actually walk the game?
By their actions and the guarantees that they put on the label. So there are a lot of coaches I had a call with. I get emails every week, I would say. They say, okay, we'll have a $10,000 program and we'll get you $100,000 a month. And I'm like, really? I'm like, how much? What kind of agency you want? And you go back on a Facebook ads library, you see their ads. Their ads are only running for coaching program, nothing for the agency, right? So when I see their business, it's one LLC, one side doing DBA as ABC coaching and one side doing DBA as ABC marketing, right? When you ask them what your marketing company do, they don't have an answer. Now that's the problem. I had a friend, similar issue, right? I wouldn't say everyone is a scam artist or everyone is like not doing what they are saying. There are some really good people out there who do it, but they do charge good money as well, right? Now, the one that you found for 3,000, and you can say that he was great because he did provided you value, but you might have 10 people in your mind whom you can call out and say, this guy is a scam, right? That's how it works. That's how they are. Now, the second most important thing that I found personally is, let's say I started working with you, or let's say you as a coach, or you are my coach, right? And I don't have eagerness to learn. That's a one-time thing because you show me like, hey, Parth, you can make 10,000 a week or 10,000 a month. You can do X, Y, Z. You can live on the beach side. You don't have to work. You can outsource everything. We can build you a done for you agency or X, Y, Z, right? The thing is that I just had that $3,000 to give you. If I don't have eagerness to learn and if I fail, you know whom I'm going to blame? Not to myself. I'm going to blame you, even if you give me your right systems. So that's another problem. That's why we are really selective with what kind of people we want to work with, right? We want to work with the people who have real problem and who are really want to solve it, not just for fun, because I don't need that $3,000. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if you're not going to work, you're going to fail. And if you're going to fail, you're going to blame me because it's really hard to blame yourself. That this is my ownership. This is my mistake. I didn't pay attention or X, Y, Z, whatever it is. So that's where the problem comes in with a lot of people. Now, with Growception, right? I started by doing $1,200 for one website. Now we don't take any projects less than $5,000 because we do sit with you. We do understand your process. We do understand what kind of consumer you're looking for. And that's how we build the messaging out there for your website. That's how we plan it. That's how we have a UI, UX designers, storytellers to make sure why we have this page or this section on this side and not the other side. Because we look as a consumer. If I'm a consumer, what will I look for? Right? So that's why we don't do less than 5,000. But soon I figure out that there are a lot of companies who are reaching out to me and they're like, why don't you provide me a website? But I don't have $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 to build a website or e-commerce site. So we figure out that there is an issue. How can we fix it? So we are in process. The website is online. It's called website67.com. It's a subscription service, $67 a month, nothing upfront, no contract, nothing. You pay a month, you get a month of website, right? Simple. You select more than 200 pre-made websites. Any one template you select, the developers team will change everything within 24 to 48 hours. And that's all. The website is live. It's dynamic. Laptop, phone, tablet, everything can work on it. The only part is you can't have a call with my team saying that I want to learn more about the process, how you do business or how you build websites. Because we already built this template. You can just use it for $67 a month. minimize cost, minimize it's not a lot of cost for us to build that website, but we do see a long term. And here's the thing, if you're not committed to your own business, if you're not committed for $5,000 to build your online business, you're not committed to your business at all. That's what I feel like. Because if you see that's a big risk to spend $5,000, you better shut that business, because you're not going to pay attention. That's the thing. If 5,000 is too much in a number wise, and I do understand there are some genuine people out there, it's really tough to find them. But you know what? They're going to reach out to you and they're going to call you why you should work with them for even $2,000. And you're going to figure it out like, this is a genuine guy and I should work out something, maybe give him a payment plan or whatever it is, but that's how it works. So whenever I do see a problem, something like this, like that's what we figured out in the last 6 months with Growception. We are getting calls for business. Hey, I need a website, but they can't afford us, or they are not committed enough to commit that much investment in their own business. So we say, okay, now we have to do something. And that's how we came up with the name website67.com. And it's live right now, but we haven't started doing business with it. So we're going to do a press release or something, maybe next month, first week of May. And that's how we're going to start with website 67. No affiliation with Growception. It's a whole different entity. And you can get support. We'll change the content. If you don't have an access to a developer, now we have a ticket system. You create a ticket like in a homepage, I need X, Y, and Z. We'll change it. We'll upload the pictures. We'll upload the things, whatever you need to be done, but we don't do customization on the theme. That's the only thing difference between working with Growception. So we can also do your brand identity, and we can walk you through like how your consumer will see the website as, or working with website 67, which is more affordable and easier way for a lot of people to go. So
that's awesome. Because see, what I like you said, there's find the need, fill the need, right? And we notice that there's a lot of individuals. I love what you're saying there as well, because see the offer, right? Developing the offer that actually resonates and works, because we've all heard definitely in the self-improvement world, you have to take ownership, right? And sadly, when you work with a business owner that then is working with a marketer, and the marketer isn't able to perform for whatever reason, sometimes it's not a matter of the tool or the system. It's more of the offer that's not resonating with it, right? And so I look at it like this, like a calculator, right? If you put in the wrong data into the calculator just does its job and gives you the data back. But it doesn't mean that it may be the right information. You have to make sure you're putting the right input in to get the right output. And that's what I always find very interesting, because it's the same concept of, hey, you could use YouTube, Facebook, all these press releases and stuff like that. But if you don't have a right offer structurally and you're trying to deploy something, exactly. And that's what, what you're basically saying is, hey, I want to work with companies that, first of all, already take ownership, but also have a proven offer that's able to actually deploy it effectively. And I think that's really awesome. I appreciate you sharing that, because also even working with, because a lot of our audience are like $1.1 million, $2 million business owners, right? They do very well for themselves. But even to scale to the next level, what I find very interesting, and correct me if I'm wrong, Parth, because when we're talking about brand, it's who's the best client that we want to work with that has the less amount of drag on the back end of our company, right? Because there are some ideal clients that pay a lot, but boy, they drag down our operations on the back end, right? They're just they're needy, they're difficult, they're frustrating, whatever, right? The thing is, you have to really identify, and a lot of times it gets niche, very specific sub niches that really dial that in and become so focused on that. So let me ask you this, Parth, because obviously developing a lot of companies' brands, right? That's big right now, okay? But how do you do that? What does that look like? And what are the strategic approaches, definitely for someone not a beginner, but like intermediate, that want to take their brand and really exponentially grow their brand so people know who they are, they know what they've got going on, and attracting those right caliber clients?
So what I would say in that scenario, it's really simple. With Growception, we don't have a niche right now. We do have a niche. We work with any business who has more than $500,000 worth of revenue to $3 million worth of revenue. Simple. No less than 5,000, no more than 3 million right now. That's niche we are focusing on, right? And businesses whom we believe in, who are offering the product which is promising, which is there, and the business who has a great track record, not someone who just want to start out and do from zero to like, oh, I have a 7 days challenge of weighting your lost 20 pounds in 7 days and I want to build a business around it. We don't do that. If you haven't done it before, then it's going to waste of your time, because you will not be able to sell that product, right? Now, finding that niche is really simple. What we try to do is, let's say you want to sell a course for accountants, or a course just to for business owners to make their life easy for accounting. You're going to try to sell a course like, hey, we'll make your life easy. The one course for business owners or one course for accounting, that's a one big market. You might not be even able to sell it for $99 or even $19, I would say. But then you go for like, oh, a course for business owners doing $1 million to $5 million. Now that's a niche market. So if I'm a $1 million to $5 million range, I might look into it and you might be able to get $100 from me or $900 from me. But now you go back and say, this is an accounting course for digital marketing agency in the US who is doing $1 to $5 million. And you sell me for $5,000, I might be more interested. I'll tell you why, because I'm a digital marketing agency. I need an accounting software or whatever the system is, right? And this is for me because I'm doing $1 to $5 million. So it's basically like removing all the stuff that gives you more options. So you have to say no to a lot of things, which I am really hard. Like I can't do most of the time because I do have family members who calls me for advice and stuff, and I just give them for free, which is stupid because they listen to it and they never implement. So it's wasting of my time and their time too. But the faster you learn how to say no to that business, the more you scale the business that's not on your niche market, right? So if you can build a course for like 7 steps to become the best 7 steps to make sure your accounting is in a good shape for digital marketing agency, doing from $1 million to $3 million, and learn it in 7 days. Now that's something you can sell for $5,000, even if it's the same course for like regular business accounting. You know what I mean? So that's where we find the material. We like to build buyer's persona, who is my buyer. So for hotel software, our buyers are hotel managers. Now, what is their age? What do they look like? What do they look for? Where do they spend most of their time? How can I get a hold of them? How can I build a system where one manager would refer me to another manager? Right. So that's how my mind works, and that's how our team works. That's how we look for. We like to find and identify the right audience. And sometimes we make mistake as well. If a marketer tells you he doesn't make a mistake, then he's lying. Sometimes we do make mistakes. Sometimes we do lose money, but it's okay. It's the journey. Now we figured out one more way how not to do a business, or how not to find an audience when we fail, right? So that's how we look into. We don't say, oh, we fail, we lost money. Now what? We just move on and see a different prospect or different way of thinking. So that's how we build audience. And building a buyer's persona it's really important. Whom do you want to sell? The more general you are, the less money you're going to make, or the more you have to work. If you are general about just one whole industry or one whole big market, if your audience is too big, you have to spend a lot of money in advertising. And you have to make it so cheap because you have a lot of competition. But if you have a really, really, really niche market like Colombian coffee, I'll make you how to make I'll show you the right way of making Colombian coffee. Now, there are a lot of people who love Colombian coffee, who love to buy your course at any cost. But you have to find that people who are really into it. So the interest should match up. It shouldn't be like, okay, you know what? I'll just build a course, or I'll just build this business on X, Y, and Z. That's the difference.
Wow. Yeah, and that's such massive insight, Parth, and I appreciate kind of dialing really micro in that because a lot of times we just kind of overarching, discuss that, but we don't dive into kind of the strategy behind it. So Parth, I really just appreciate you being on here, telling us about their story, about how young you were to obviously, learning, how all the challenges in life, but you obviously, like you said, the journey, it is acquiring skills to establish the bigger end result, which is what you're doing here for small business owners, and then obviously yourself as well. Parth, how can they reach out to you, engage with what you're doing, and even maybe apply to work with you?
So the best way will be email me at parth@growception.com or parth@pbp.group. That's another that's the parent. That's going to be the parent company we are building. But I would say reach out to me via email. That's the easiest way right now. I am on social media, but I like to keep that life personal. We are working on something to make it more not private, but public image and stuff like that. We're working on it. I don't know if it's going to be live until we launch this episode or not. But if they want, they can definitely email me at parth@growthsection.com, and we'll be more than happy to look into it. If they need a service or if they need something from our side, we'll be more than happy. And we are doing a lot of stuff, like we are in construction industry, we are doing roofing, we are doing we have a crazy idea about insurance companies, so we're working on it. And I did consulted one of the biggest, like I do business consulting as well, and I did consulted people with couple $100 million revenue as well. So we do that, and that's how we work.
That's awesome. So that's how, guys, those links will be in the description below. So that's how you can communicate, engage, and of course, reach out to Parth. And before we let you go, Parth, is there any last words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our audience?
I think I'm not old enough to do that, but the one thing I'll tell you is hard work is important. There is no substitute. But with the hard work, you have to find the right product and the right audience and the right people. If you are focusing on 20 different ideas like I do, you're missing out. But here's the thing, I don't want to be like, making money is not the only goal I have. I want to build a legacy. That's why I'm focusing on 20 different ideas. And I don't want to have a regret in my life. So that's why I try each and every stupid idea that comes to my mind. I like to build something around it. That's how I work. That's how my mind works. It shouldn't be the same way for everyone else, but that's okay. So being a billionaire is not my ultimate goal. Ultimate goal is something else. So that's why I do focus on 20 ideas. But I would say hard work is most important thing. The second thing is the right industry. You have to have a knowledge in that industry. You have to have the best knowledge in that industry. I'm good at building systems. I'm good at building businesses. So that's what I do for a living, right? And the third and the most important thing is having the right people on your side. If you have if you are hardworking, but if you don't have right people or best people in your side, you're gonna lose. Simple. It's like a chair. If you have a chair with three things under it, if one is a short, you're gonna fall. Simple. So right people, a right industry, and absolute hard work. Yeah, otherwise people do hard work as well. You can find people working in doing 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs, 80, 100 hours a week, but they don't become rich or they don't become wealthy. The problem is they don't choose the right industry and they don't do experiments a lot. And one simple question, let me ask you something, Christian. Do you like baklava?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Do you like baklava? And how about, do you like samosa?
Oh, I love samosa better. Yeah.
Okay. And how about, do you like rasmalai?
Not so much, no.
You tried it before?
My past father-in-law, he was Indian, and so he let me try a lot of this stuff. So, but
okay, then let me ask you something. Do you like to do something stupid? Do you like Celsius?
No.
Have you tried it?
No, I don't even know what that is now.
So how can you say you don't like it if you never tried it?
Good point. Good point.
So a lot of people in their life, the one mistake they make is they just say, I don't like it. If you never tried it, you're not going to realize if you love it or not. So do not get stuck, especially students while they are in college. Do not get stuck. I want to become a doctor, and I'm going to become a doctor. I'm going to study biology. And after 4 years, you try to apply for a med school, you become a doctor. And that 12 years of journey, when you go on the real world job, you figure out this is hard, or this is not what I signed up for. Becoming an accountant, they spend 4 years in accounting, then go to become a CPA and try to be okay, I'm gonna leave this job, but then they figure out this is not a right fit for me. The one piece of advice that I gave to my friends or my family members, the kids who are studying in 10th grade or 12th grade, right, high schoolers, go and shadow people. Shadow the people you want to be. So if you want to be a dentist, reach out to your nearest dentist. And here is one simple thing. If you have a family dentist, he's not going to say no to you. If he say no to you, you offer him something that, it will show him that you are really into it. Why don't you offer him $100? Hey, dentist. Hey, doctor. I want to shadow you for one day. I won't disturb you. I won't ask you any questions. In the last, I just need your 15 minutes and ask really stupid questions. How do you like your work? What is the one thing that's more hard, like the hardest thing you did ever? Or why do you love this job? Or why dentistry? And you're going to find there are a lot of unhappy dentists as well in this world. They just do it because they have to make money. They have to pay that student loan or XYZ, whatever it is, because they signed up for it. It's been too late, but they don't enjoy the process, right? So that's the thing. You're going to find the right industry by trying different stuff. Otherwise, you will say you don't like the Celsius if you never tried it. You know what I mean?
And got,
So
I,
that's the thing. That's what a lot of people have to do, man, to find the right industry. Finding the best people will be the second step, but finding the right industry is the first step.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. Guys, that is Parth Patel. And guys, those links will be in the description below. Make sure you just engage with him. Make sure you apply for what he's got going on and reach out to him. Man, I really appreciate you being on here. Truly just sharing a lot of, your young wisdom, right? And to our audience. And guys, that is Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. Until next time, remember, be uncommon if you can.
Hey, stop. This is Christian D. Evans, host of Journey with Christian D. Evans podcast. And I just want to say personally, thank you for listening to our podcast. And, if you love what you're hearing right now, please, like this, share this, and show some love to our guest, and write a review, and, share this with your friend, your family, someone that truly needs it, because at the end of the day, you can make an impact in that person's life by sharing their story with that individual. And again, if you're a new guest, welcome to our community. We're so excited. We're so just honored. And secondly, if you're a returning guest, hey, we appreciate the love. Thank you. Share this with your friend and family. And guys, remember, be uncommon if you can.